A shake-up in aviation security could be on the horizon. The Herald's revealed the Transport Minister, Simeon Brown, is mulling an overhaul of the way we travel, suggesting airports, airlines or private security companies do the work of aviation security officers, or AVSEC. Air 2 Union, which represents up to 300 AVSEC officers, says the idea is deeply concerning.
Do you think this could create unnecessary risk to passengers or airlines if we go down the route of privatising aviation security?
We think it does increase the risks. Having a single agency who has one thing to do, which is ensuring aviation security, is the best model for keeping people safe within our system.
What is the problem with, say, an airline or an airport being in charge of security? Is that a conflict in your mind?
Well, there are a number of issues there. Let's just be clear. Our airlines and airports are all companies which are very focused on safety and have good records. No bones about that. But what you would be doing under this model is replacing a public service organisation whose job is just to ensure the safe passage of passengers through the system with organisations that have other imperatives: to make a profit, to get the planes in the air, to keep the queues down. And as soon as you introduce those other incentives, you potentially do pull away from that focus on safety.
So what you're saying is that airlines might be more inclined to rush people through screening to make sure that the planes can take off on time, as opposed to doing a thorough job.
Well, there's obviously that incentive there.
In a private discussion document obtained by the Herald, Brown's raised concerns about queues and costs when it comes to the current Crown Run model.
You have been caught up in long queues trying to get on the aeroplane?
I sure have, and it's really frustrating. And I think it's important the sector works together on that. If the Minister pressed the button and said we're going to privatise these services, it wouldn't actually change over for 5 years or so, because it's such a complex system to move to. So it won't change anything about queues in the short to medium term. We think it's far better to focus on that issue and get everyone around the table and find practical solutions.
Official information obtained by the Herald shows AVSEC officers currently seize almost 900 prohibited items from passengers each month, including the innocuous, like imitation grenades, to the more serious, like rifles and pistols.
I think when we as passengers go through aviation security, we sometimes just think, oh, this is a bit of an annoyance. It does take a little bit of time. But actually the men and women in aviation security are doing really important work. They're highly trained, they have statutory powers, and they remove items that could cause real harm that people sometimes willingly and sometimes mistakenly might bring onto a commercial flight. So that's enormously important, and we don't want to see any dilution of that focus on safety.
Another union representing AVSEC workers, the National Union of Public Employees, says queues are often the fault of airlines, who don't weigh carry-on baggage to ensure bags are under 7 kgs. It's claimed bulky bags take longer to pass through machines and be assessed by staff. Air New Zealand is a frequent offender, the submission states. The union also claims airlines haven't done enough to educate passengers about prohibited items, which slows down processing when items get confiscated.